Welcome one and all, this is the Ancient Journey. On today's journey, the Beast of Jersey. But before we get started, don't forget, if you enjoy the video, please hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on those notifications. And if there's a story out there you'd like to see us turn into a video, drop it in the comments section down below. Now let's get started. An island lies in the channel between France and England. Its name is Jersey. It boasts a small population of around 100,000 people, and at one time it was home to a monster. The monster's reign of terror begins in 1957. Victims are tied with rope and dragged from bus stops into the nearby woods, where a musty-odored attacker rapes and sodomizes them. Soon there would be more unsuspecting victims dragged from bus stops, and then the monster's hunting grounds expand. It's Valentine's Day in 1960, and the fiend breaks into a home and attacks a 12-year-old boy. 1 month later, a woman is attacked by a man she accepts a ride home from. The monster is found in a woman's cottage shortly after. She awakens, tries to phone the police when she encounters him, only to realize he has cut the phone lines. After a physical scuffle, she flees the house to find help, only to later return and discover that the beast has raped her 14-year-old daughter she had left behind. And the rampage continues into the summer. But the monster, perhaps now gaining a taste for younger victims, seems to focus mainly on children. Police begin to question any residents of the small island who have a criminal record, and also form a profile of the attacker. The maniac is in his 40s, around 5 foot 6 inches tall, and smells musty and terrible. His attacks are always between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m., and he uses a flashlight to find his way in the darkness. The animal also uses an Irish accent that is so bad, victims and police assume it is fake. He is described as having black, spiky hair and wearing a mask or face covering, and there is another bizarre clue. Victims are often covered in long, deep scratches or punctures that are in perfect parallel lines. The attacks stop in 1963, and after a few years, the island has all but forgotten the monster lurking in their backyard. But in 1966, police receive a letter from the attacker. My dear sir, I think that it is just the time to tell you that you are just wasting your time, as every time I have done what I always intended to do, and remember it will not stop at this, but I will be fair to you and give you a chance. I have never had much out of this life, but I intend to get everything I can now. I have always wanted to do the perfect crime. I have done this, but this time let the moon shine very bright in September, because this time it must be perfect, not one, but two. I am not a maniac by a long shot, but I like to play with you people. You will hear from me before September, and I will give you all the clues, just to see if you can catch me. Yours very sincerely, Wait and See. And in August, another attack occurs, and then again there is a pause, this time for 4 more years. And then in 1970, another attack. The only suspect the police have had during this time turns out to be an innocent man. A local fisherman, Alphonse Legasteloi, was arrested for suspicion of the crimes at one point. He is known to be an odd character, and police seem to just be hoping he was guilty due to his odd behavior. But Alphonse had nothing to do with it. But police question him for 14 hours and release his name to the local press. Alphonse has his house burned down by an angry mob and flees the island for his own safety. And the attacks continue after that. It is July of 1970. Two police officers are on their regular nightly patrol on the island. Near midnight, a car runs a red light right in front of them. The police give chase, and the occupant of the car crashes and then begins to run. One of the officers tackles the man. The man is arrested. They stuff him in the back of their car and return him to the police station. During the drive, both officers notice the horrid, musty smell the man is giving off. At the police station, under the bright fluorescent lights, the officers forget about the musty smell, and that's because of the man's appearance. He wears a black trench coat adorned with inch-long nails and screws that protrude from the collars, cuffs, and shoulders. The nails are there to prevent his victims from grabbing at him and to inflict more damage to them during his crimes. He carries a flashlight that has tape covering most of the lens, and in his car they find a mask that he wears during his attacks. The beast has finally been caught, and his name is Edward Paisnell. As monsters go, Edward Paisnell seems to be a lamb, not a lion. He comes from a wealthy family, works in construction, and even plays Santa Claus at a children's foster home. He's married and has a family. But when police search his home, they discover that if Edward Paisnell is Dr. Jekyll, then the Beast of Jersey is Mr. Hyde. They discover a locked room in his house that has a horrid, musty odor. It's filled with old clothing, wigs, and even false eyebrows. It contains a camera and photos of different homes across the island. They find a satanic shrine and books about black magic and the occult. In November of 1971, a jury takes only 38 minutes to convict Paisnell. He is sentenced to 30 years in prison, ending up serving 20 years due to model behavior as a prisoner. But the beast isn't done. In 2007, a child abuse investigation begins on the Isle of Jersey. The investigation uncovers that many children in foster homes have been abused over the years. Police find shackles and children's teeth buried in the basements of the foster home where Paisnell played Santa Claus. Though he was charged for attacks against 13 victims, it's very likely the Beast of Jersey assaulted many, many more. Thanks for watching, and thanks for sharing the journey.